Hello, and welcome to It Starts With a Question. I'm your host, Crystal Williams, president of Rhode Island School of Design. I'm a poet, essayist, and daughter of Detroit who is curious about how others experience the world and how their unique experiences shape how they move through it. Throughout my life, people have often told me that they feel like they can tell me anything. And I think that's because, at root, I seek authentic connection and understanding. Maybe it's the poet in me, but I've always been most interested in learning about the why over the what or how, so we can crack open the core of the matter and get to the heart of what makes us who we are. For me, it starts with a question so we might learn, what else do we dream for this human project?
Hey, how are you?
Today, I'm chatting with visual artist, filmmaker, and writer RaMell Ross. His work has been shown in venues such as the Museum of Modern Art, the ICA in London, and the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. His films have also received recognition, including a special jury award at Sundance and Emmy and Oscar nominations. Born in Germany and raised in Northern Virginia, RaMell studied English and sociology before attending RISD to study photography. A quest to make more meaningful images has motivated him to explore notions of the Black quotidian, using Alabama as a canvas, a notebook, and an immersion for the senses. Thank you. This was a gift from Marva Griffith, who is an extraordinary woman, a Venezuelan who's made her life supporting and amplifying young designers in Italy at Salone.
Oh, wow.
So she created Salone Satellite, which is for designers under 35. So last year I was there in Milan and they were celebrating 25 years of her having done this work, thousands and thousands of designers that she's,
Wow.
but she's also like all of the things.
Yeah.
Right? And so we share a kind of an aesthetic. And so this was a gift from Marva.
Man, I love that. It's interesting when you tell me about her personality to look at that art, and then I'm just like making comparisons between like how extraordinary and wide and full, but like supple it is.
Yeah.
With her. But I also imagine some introverts could also make something like that. But she's not one of them.
I don't know if Marva's an introvert. I'm an introvert. Are you an introvert?
I am, but I think because I've been so lessoned in being an extrovert by means of making people at ease and just being socially mobile. If now I'm not an extrovert because it's more how you act and maybe not how you think you are, or
I understood introversion to be how you restore energy.
Oh, wow.
Right. So introverts restore by going inward, silence, contemplation. Extroverts get energy from people. Introverts, people extract energy.
Well, I have to ask, what's beyond an introvert? What is
Right,
that?
exactly.
Yeah,
What is off of the, is that you?
Leave the planet.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that how you are?
Yeah, very,
Yeah.
very, almost reclusive, some could say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Solitary, like.
Yeah, and then you're ready for a little bit of the
Yeah.
human process.
I have a question for you, which is, where are you right now in relation to the disciplines that you're practicing? Because it's very broad.
I think I call myself an artist because that means you can be anything. And so I kind of don't like any of the genres as a capsule. I think once I made something that was photographically what I thought could be in terms of its power, in terms of its meaning, and then I did something in film that I thought could have that power and that meaning, then I no longer felt myself needing to narrow myself into those spaces. I think there's something about not exhausting the possibilities, but doing something that you consider to be worthwhile or powerful or an extension of yourself or your sensibility that I think frees you from the need to call yourself that and the need to use that as the means to communicate. And so I have a hard time because I really like construction. This morning I'm learning how to fly. I landed a plane a couple times this morning, and I kind of right now see myself as a pilot. Like I just crossed the threshold from being afraid to call myself a pilot and being a little bit hesitant at the yoke, and then now being like, Oh, wow.
Are you committed to content? You sort of use whatever form is most appropriate in your mind, and whence the sort of, I don't want to be bound, or is it something different?
That's a great question. I fall to two things. One, in this moment, a quote that I really love, and I don't remember who it's by, but it goes, "Specialization is for insects." Which I don't
That's
know.
great.
It's
Yeah,
great,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
it's great.
Although the specialists won't like that.
Yeah, they won't like that at
They
all.
won't like it at all.
Because it's like it's not true, but it's true. It's
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
to be used
yeah.
in the way in which is useful to one.
Yeah.
And then another is Maya Krinsky, really brilliant artist. She had said at one point in time she was doing a crit with another professor, and it was on sculpture. And Maya's like a trained photographer, and the person started to apply photographic language and photographic sensibility and photographic framing to the sculpture crit.
But so young artists are often want sort of transdisciplinary engagement, right?
Yeah.
They want to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And there's a strain of thought that says, in fact, you can do lots of things and lots of things badly,
Yeah.
right? But you're doing lots of things really well. And how does that come to be, right? Because poetry is my discipline. I'm a terrible fiction writer.
I can't imagine that's true.
No.
But I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, please do. I'm not being coy. I don't think in stories in that way. So I stopped trying to write. Now I write prose, and that's different.
Yeah.
But I'm clear about what I'm really good at and what I'm not. But you seem to be really good at lots of things. And so how does that come about? As if you're talking to a 21-year-old person.
Yeah, that's a nice entry point, because otherwise I'll just go all over the place. I think for myself, it's about taking the strength that you have in one and applying it to the other genre of making. I don't think that the sculptures that I've made are sculptures in terms of what Donald Judd has done or what a Kara Walker sculpture is, but it's like my photographic sensibility. It shouldn't be a photograph. It should be this. I want it to feel like this, and then you kind of take whatever strengths you have in general and see what the genre wants to do with it. I feel like if I were to have a strength, one, it would be obliviousness. In that when I start to do something, I'm not concerned about trying to be as good as the person who I admire. And I also don't believe necessarily in the rules that are typically taught to get to a type of mastery that's respected by a certain type of person.
That's so interesting.
Because I played sports at a relatively high level, I know what practice is. And to me, if I like the thing I'm doing and I'm practicing, like, that's good enough. So I think I find a way to use whatever strength I have to do something that is uniquely me, because I'm open to that not fitting with what everyone else expects it to.
So is that a piece of advice for young artists, which is to not be overly concerned or even concerned really at all about the gaze of others, or whether or not you're being accepted or liked, or how many likes do you get? Is that the advice, or is the advice something slightly different?
Well, I think the advice is in the middle, because I think you have to be concerned with, one, if your work is communicating, two, if your work is offensive in a way in which you can't account for, and it's hurtful for others, and that's not the intention. I think you have to be in dialogue with people, because that's what the work is supposed to be doing. I think you find, like, the philosopher who works in a cabin and never hangs out with anyone, the ideas you come out with, if they haven't been engaged with the real world, then like the use of them are going to be questionable. But I also believe that a person needs to trust themselves, be willing to make mistakes, maybe even most importantly, learn through making.
Yeah.
I think that in a time in which we need to be deeply socially conscious, artists are I think, almost more inclined to hyper-conceptualize the identity and ethics of the work, and therefore top down that to what the thing could be, as opposed to doing something that could be offensive or not exactly what one would want, learning from that, and then being able to pivot and shift and know that just because you did that doesn't mean that that's the totality of your belief, or it's not you. It's just a curse word that you said. It's just a way of being in the world, or making things. And that's hard. That's really hard.
Where did you learn that lesson?
Now that I learned learning through making images that I wasn't proud of, and being oblivious in a way in which I don't think was a strength. So I'm like wanting to be a photojournalist. I have Hasselblad. I'm working with my friend on a film through Columbia University, and we end up going to East Africa. And I make all these really beautiful images in crystal. I mean, these images, like
they were the truth.
They were it, you know, the light, the framing, the exposure. And I bring them back, I develop them, and, you know, as I'm maturing into a person that cares about photo history, cares about the history of knowledge production, cares about what it means to be making art in a with global purview from an American identity and what that means, like what's America's visual constitution, I realized that these images weren't contributing anything to the understanding of the culture. In fact, they were in line with the way in which the US centralizes our gaze and our belief in our powers. And it was really painful, in fact, because I remember, you know, walking up to a security guard, this is in Ethiopia, and like taking a photo of him, and then him like doing like a strange sort of like aggressive face, and me taking another photo and being like, wow, like I'm doing it. Like this is it, you know? And looking at the photo and being like, look at the way that I captured this person. Like I can't wait to share. And then thinking more about it and reading and realizing, you know, the way in which a lot of people of color across the globe, because of the power of the camera, have been forced to put on fronts to distance themselves from being actually seen, because the person who's photographing them doesn't know them. And it's just way more complicated than just walking up to a random person and taking a photo. And I think after being the person that did the thing, and I'll tell you one that I've never told anyone.
Thank you.
That you're asking really deep questions. I was shooting a film for Roger Ross Williams.
Yes.
First Black person to win an Oscar.
Yes.
And we were in Philadelphia. We were in Summer, Pennsylvania, sorry. And we're driving, and we're in his old town. We make a left on some street. We look down this long city street, and there's a woman lying in the road. And this is the way we're going. So we have like a caravan of 3 cars. We're driving. As we drive by her, we see that she's in distress. We soon realize she had just been hit. You know, woman of color, lying there screaming. We stop. Everyone gets out. I get out, grab the camera.
Get your camera.
Right. I go over. Roger's out. Other folks are out. She can't see me because I'm behind her on the other side. And I start filming. And then she turns around and sees me. And I don't know if I've ever felt worse in my entire life. Because I knew that this has nothing to do with the story. I knew that I wouldn't want to be filmed. I knew that I knew everything already, but the instinct to get the shot and the power of the camera, and you know, you see this artist who got a Pulitzer Prize for this war photography, like the photojournalist shot first, all kind of converged. And she like yelled, I put the camera down, and I was just kind of haunted by my decision to do that. Like, why would you do that? Like,
first impulse is
is to film this woman who's bleeding on the road. That was a huge turning point for me. And because I realized it's not about the shot. Like the photographs, film, art serves people. It serves humanity.
So where did you grow up?
Northern Virginia. But because I'm military, like
you
my
grew up
family.
Every place.
Yeah. I think, Indiana, Chicago, Maryland, Virginia. Maryland, Virginia.
I've been trying to piece together your obsession, better word, interest in,
I'll take obsession. Yeah.
to the expression of the quotidian,
Mm.
particularly the quotidian in Black life.
Mm.
Whence that obsession?
Yeah, when did that happen? You know, it's muddy. I'm always interested when people are so sure when I became an artist at this point. This is when this happened.
On Thursday, May 22nd, in
8 o'clock.
1997. Yeah.
I've always been a person who's an observer, or like who loved to like look. And everyone loves to look. That's one of our primary senses. But I would say that I liked it just a little bit more than most.
I don't know if everybody likes to look.
No?
No. I think most people don't look.
Oh, so you think people see and not look?
Correct.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. Fact about me that a lot of folks don't know, which is the best thing that I can trace to my interest in the quotidian and to looking, is that my parents, in all of their mighty, mighty wisdom, not sarcastically, we were living in Maryland and the schools like weren't so good, and we couldn't afford to go anywhere else or go to private school. So my parents used my aunt's address in Virginia.
Yeah.
And so we would drive an hour and a half every morning.
Wow.
We wake up at like 4:30, get dressed,
smokes.
drive, they drop us off.
To get you into whatever the school was.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we did that for 3 years until my parents could save up enough money to rent in that neighborhood. But every morning, hour and a half, every night, hour and a half. And there's nothing more beautiful, at least at that time, with like the before rush hour, twilight, street light glow. You just don't get that very often. And I just remember looking out of the window and having like the best relationship to the world, just like sitting there and just watching the world go by.
Your mother's gone.
Yeah.
Your father?
Yeah, he's around and doing well.
What does he think about his kiddo?
Mr. Ross is probably, I call him Papa Ross, one of the greatest, like kindest people I've ever encountered objectively. I've met a lot of people. I think that he's impressed because my parents were not artists. My parents were not creatives by any definition of creative. They're both were escaping poverty, couldn't do those things, and went to the military as a refuge, and then wanted to make a family to give my sister and I, of course, the opportunities they didn't have. And in that, I think my dad's always like, you must have got this from your mother. He's like, and of course, maybe not of course, but he's like still deeply in love with her and calls her name and speaks on her a lot. And so I think he sees her sort of working through me in a type of way. And I think even when we're hanging out or I'm doing a talk, I think that he gets great joy from, I guess, seeing his creation, for lack of a better word.
Well, so I was in a conversation on Sunday at Easter dinner. We was at a friend's house, and we were talking about Black families. And I was talking about, 20 years ago, I remember talk about quotidian, right? So we were in DC, so sort of your neck of the woods, down in Chinatown. And I was watching, there was a little girl, she had a brother and a father and a mother. And the little girl was so creative. She was just all of the things. Sometimes you can just see kids and she was making up stuff, jumping up and down, doing all of the things. And to me, it was gorgeous, right? Because I could just see all of the potential that was in that little body expressing itself in that moment. And her father was shutting it down at every turn. Like, just stop doing that. You're, all this. And the sadness that welled in me in that moment, I carry with me now, right? Because I outside of an extraordinary series of events, the result of that shutting down over many years, in my experience, is that the creative gets shut down permanently. And then I think, what has the world lost, right?
Yeah.
But when I hear you talk about your parents, they didn't shut down at all. And your dad pride and so forth. So did they do something with you and or your sister that amplified your creativity or your senses? Like, how in the family do you come to be?
Yeah, I think two things. One, it's interesting to think about the relationship between having to like discipline your child and then also give your child the freedom to deal with this patch of light for the first time in the history of their life.
Yeah.
You know, to touch something in a place that they've never been because they don't know what that texture feels like and it's drawing to them because of that color. I think it's partially racialized, right? In which you're trying to prepare your colored child, your Black child, for a world that's going to be hostile to that type of like extension of self.
Yeah.
And so I find it too very disheartening when I witness a kid who's not bad by any means, is just energetic and creative, but yet that behavior is treated as if, you know, it's going to end them up in jail, which in theory it has for some and could. So like, how do you even deal with that? My dad was a disciplinarian, but simultaneously my parents gave my sister and I so much love, like undoubtedly love, like an overwhelming amount of love. I think that could overcome the frustration and sometimes the just anger of not being able to like use your body in a way in which is useful to teach you at a young age. My sister is slightly different from myself in that I don't think that I found basketball and that let me channel all my creativity. So I could be disciplined because when I got on the basketball court, I was allowed to basically be an artist with the ball. And I was way more interested in doing moves and being like a style.
You're making something with your body.
Oh my gosh.
On the court.
Don't get me started.
Are you a dancer?
Theater. No, but like I wish.
Yeah.
I wish.
Okay. Can't keep a beat. Is that?
I can.
Okay,
but,
all right, okay.
I mean, should we test it?
No, please.
Can you beatbox?
No. I know I should be yes-anding, but honestly, I really can't beatbox.
I bet you can dance though.
I used to be a dancer. I don't dance now.
What kind was it?
Just, I did jazz dance when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was a theater kid.
Yeah.
So, you know,
like theater kids, dance kids, they are okay. They're always okay. Like if you teach your kid, right? Like I don't know any dancer that's not okay.
Well, maybe it's the same as an athlete, right? Like you've got an outlet and you can express it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Earlier in our conversation, you used the word freedom in relation to art making. How do you think about being free as an artist?
Can you be free if you're like not putting work out there that you're questioning for yourself? Like, does freedom have to do with the outside judgment, or is it like exploring the depths of oneself in relationship to the world unapologetically? Like, I'm unsure. Like, my work is personal, but it's not like a diary. You know, it's not the type of personal in which I'm airing all of the negative thoughts I have about myself or ones that I have about the world or what someone said to me at this point in time. And so I'm unsure exactly what freedom is. I call myself a liberated documentarian because I think that there's something to me in freedom that is in relationship to being able to account for the way that we're programmed and being able to account for the zeitgeist and cultural context that produces the way that we're making meaning and the way that we believe. Like I believe certain things about the military. I believe certain things about other countries. Where do those beliefs come from? You're not making decisions based on the momentum of the past. You're making decisions based on your relationship, your consideration of that momentum.
So for you, there's a relationship between sort of freedom and context and interpretation.
Yeah, I think freedom for me, it's about being able to account for why one believes a certain thing so that you can work towards genuine belief. Because what's that thing they say, like someone's not a good person unless they choose not to do evil? You know, it's like if you're
You're not just born good.
Yeah, like if
You got
you're,
to make a decision.
you got to make a decision,
Yeah.
or else you're just good. Like that's not.
I'm always thinking about freedom. What I want very deeply for young artists is that they are able to do the work that they want to do,
Yeah.
that they can uniquely do. And there's a tension because for many, particularly visual artists, people want to make a living, right? And so you've got like market drivers and the thing that you want to do. And that tension is for some young people untenable, particularly if they hit.
Yeah.
And most artists never hit, really,
Yeah.
if we're honest, right?
Yeah.
So, but if you hit really early, your work can get really torqued to the market, which is in some ways a kind of prison. You're a pretty young person, and you've been pretty successful here now. Does that gaze impact how you move forward? If you move, if you don't?
I'm trying to get to a place in which I'm not so critical because I have a problem showing work and making work or sharing it to the public because I am unsure what the work is doing. And with the amount of work that's out there in the world, I've had in my head for a while that like we don't need more pictures, we need, more intelligent pictures. We need to rework these archives. We need to do X, Y, and Z. And so I think I'm challenging myself to be more public, to be an actual apprentice in the public.
So all the iterations, the iterative projects, the iterative art moments, you've got a trove and no one's seeing them. You're only putting out the thing. So that's a very big, heavy moon that you are dragging behind you.
Yeah.
So it must be very scary then to be trying to think like, I'm gonna loosen that up a little bit. I'm gonna take that harness off a little bit and then try to show some stuff that's not as heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you getting through that?
I think I'm getting through it by relying on the practice that I've done over the course of the years, because I've been so rigorous for, at least I think rigorous for the last 15 years, that I kind of think that I've built up a starting point which is not as far back as the previous starting point. So when I make something, it's not as maybe nation as it was before. Also,
You older, wiser.
And then in the same way, kind of like I'm caring less about the way that people might misinterpret the work or the work not fitting into a certain relationship to the image that I have as an artist,
That's freedom.
It's freedom.
You're working towards being a different kind of free.
I think I am. I think I am.
And that feels right.
It feels good because you're right. Like I love dragging the moon, like a huge burden and weight on one's shoulders.
Yeah.
To always be so cogent.
Yeah.
Like I've only made images in Alabama as like a political statement,
Yikes.
I photographed everywhere all the time, and I'm like never gonna show any work unless it's in Alabama because we need Black people making work about Alabama. We don't need, and I don't even know what we need, but yeah.
Huh.
I've been wanting to make work around sports, basketball for a long time.
Yeah.
And I have a bunch of projects that have been on the back burner that I'm picking back up, and I'm just gonna make them, and some are gonna feel derivative of X artist, and some are gonna seem like one-liners, and maybe the sculpture is too illustrative. But I guess what I'm expressing is I have the same concerns as the students that we teach, the ones that are in the universities that we respect and work in.
Yeah. Isn't that something for them to know?
Right? Yeah. I mean, I'm an incredibly self-conscious artist.
Yeah. Interesting.
But I'm older than them.
Moon.
Yeah, so what?
Some of that moon.
Yeah, some of that moon.
Yeah.
Which I love as a metaphor because I love looking up at things.
Well, you like language. So that comes from a line in a poem by my friend Tim Siebels, who's an incredible poet. And it's a poem, it's a love poem this man sort of carrying this moon after this woman that he's like longing for. He's like, I've been lugging this moon. I'm like, Tim, stop.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's just such a good image for all kinds of things.
It's such a good image too, because it's specifically like, it's not an albatross or an anchor, because it's not tied to, it's tied to the gravity of the earth, but in a way that's more buoyant. And how beautiful, where it's just like, and it's also backlighting you.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
What's the fella's name who...
Did you just say fella?
Yeah. Why do people not?
No, people don't say fella.
They don't say fella, why not?
No.
Is it?
You've been watching British Murder Mystery.
I thought fella... Yeah, I guess that is. Yeah, maybe... What's that?
Maybe that's Southern, I don't know.
Ocean...
Vong.
Yeah, I love their work. Love their work. But I've been reading like Tracy K. Smith. And
she's a beautiful poet.
Yeah, beautiful poet. And her language like rhymes with my interest in the quotidian and the interstitial, because it's so effortless and it's so conversational, but yet, it holds outside of the typical indoctrination or indoctrinated use of language. I wish poetry was taken more seriously in culture, but it's strange, right? Because we're at a time in which truth and meaning is so in flux and overly perspectival that to add the ambiguity that poetry offers generatively to the conversation would kind of undermine a lot of the, one could argue could undermine the urgency or the clarity that people need to have.
Well, so what's interesting to me about that is I heard years ago, and I couldn't point you to the source, that in times of great strife or turbulence, incidents of buying and reading poetry go way up. So for instance, after 9/11, people turned to poems. And I think the thinking is, or the argument is that the poets are truth tellers and use language to not only define, but to explain what is unexplainable. Well, and that to me, that's what good poets do. Right? Good poets sort of tell a kind of truth.
I mean, when I'm in the South, I intentionally only listen to Christian and conservative radio.
And why?
Because I want to hear what they're saying.
Interesting.
You know? And I know the sentiment, I know the, the moral and ethical underpinnings. Some could say, you know what they're going to say, maybe I do, but there's something about hearing, like I have friends in the South who are like deep conservatives. There's something about hearing the way in which they're grappling with the stuff and what is propaganda to them and what isn't.
Is there a way in which this sense of yours that you in the South you're listening to, like, is that informing your work?
Yeah, I think it has to be. I think there's nothing more interesting. I like what you said about, not the accoutrement, but getting to the core, because when you talk with a lot of the folks that have completely opposite views than you, and or if you listen to the radio, if you do that mining, they're quite literally the exact same. And everyone always says that, and it seems like, I mean, it is a platitude for a reason, but they very much want the world to be, everyone to be happy. Like they very much want the same things. It's just that people quite naturally are tribalistic, and maybe it's not natural, but the way in which things have played out, and people are so genuinely isolated in certain parts of the country that I would be the exact same as them if I consumed the exact same things. That these are some passionate pleas to their beliefs. Like these people on the radio, they're not monotoned robots. Like they're saying things that come from their life experience with pith and with beautiful language and with a lot of heart. To the point where I'm like, well, that's kind of true right there. I don't want to say that's a good point. Like it's real. It's like their experience is real. And so I think part of the grander lesson that I learned through experience in life and being in the South is this complexity.
When I go to Alabama, I do feel very comfortable. I feel like I'm I understand the people.
Yeah.
Like there's a language that I understand. There's a kind of a stance that I understand.
Yeah.
Have you been to Detroit?
No.
You should go to Detroit.
Yeah?
Because
I'm going to recognize a bit, huh?
You will, there have now been all these creatives that are moving in, right? Because it's such an interesting city right now. But when you talk to Detroiters, I guarantee you, you'd be like, you got people in Alabama?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the language and the stance mention you make, because I find that in the South there's something like people are far less linguistic, and it's way more behavioral, and it's way more where you're facing, how you're slumped, what you don't say, how you don't say it, and that type of like lesson of like interaction was like wholly fresh to me, because in the North or in Virginia, like it's mainly through language, or through linguistic language. And what I like to say in the South, I feel like I had no race sometimes if the light is right, and then you like snap back into, realism.
It's been lovely talking to you.
Yeah,
this has
same.
Been great. It's been fun. Thank you for doing this with us. Thank you again, RaMell, for joining me for this conversation and sharing more about what drives you. Join me next time for more inspiration and insight on It Starts With a Question. In the meantime, keep up with RaMell at RaMell Ross on Instagram, and follow me on Instagram at Crystal Ann Williams. Learn more about RISD at risd.edu.